Mark Kelso, magnificent player with the Buffalo Bills and all of those great teams, and is involved with the Guardian Cap. Now, this is not the first time that we've talked about it, but I do, Mark, before we get to any of that conversation, more than anything else, what's on my mind is about mutual friend and for you, a teammate, Jim Kelly. Word out that he has been diagnosed with cancer of his upper jaw, and there's no finer human being that I've met in professional sports and somebody that's given back since he played the game than Jim. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And have you talked to him recently?
Well, yeah, I saw him on Monday. He had a big event that he uses to raise money for his foundation that supports families that have children with Krabbe's disease. And Jim's a man of faith. I talked to him prior to that a couple weeks ago, and it's challenging, but he's got the guy that's doing the surgery here in Buffalo, my understanding, is the best. And and I think the prognosis is good. I mean, he's a man of faith, and I think he'll face this like he does those other challenges. He certainly has a lot of support from his teammates, and he and I are close friends. So he's got a great network of friends here in the Western New York community, as well as his family members, his brothers, who have a very strong bond. So it's a challenging thing. If you hadn't known, if he had not made the announcement on Monday when you saw him at the event, at his golf event, you would not have known that he has a surgery scheduled for here sometime here in early June. So I think it was well said with the announcement that came out and the statement that he made through he and his wife Jill. And I think he wanted to wait. His daughter he has a daughter graduating from high school this year, which I think happened last week, and he wanted to wait till that was over too to make the announcement. So I think the prognosis from what he tells me is good.
Great.
And he's kind of facing this like he has other challenges in his life, and anything we can do for him as teammates, we will certainly do.
Well, I know you get this often, but do tell him that he's in our prayers for sure, okay? Because
I will do that.
I've known him for the better part of 25 to 30 years. Listen, I brought this up for the set for everyone to notice. This is the newest or one of the newest helmets that's being used in college football by the Oregon Ducks, and this is the interior of it. And with each passing year, I think it does improve, and it doesn't matter the company that's putting it out. And I'm not in the business of giving promotion to all kinds of companies, but I do think that the helmet, by and large, has improved over time. But what you've come up with is the Guardian Cap. It's a soft shell helmet cover that can be worn on any helmet. One size fits all. I understand South Carolina in the spring, Coach Spurrier used it. And it's something that I know is near and dear to your heart, means a great deal, and can impact, I think, safety for everyone that's playing the great game of football. Talk to me a little bit about its evolution. Since we had you on, obviously you've gotten a lot more attention.
Well, first of all, let's start with your original comment. I mean, number one is helmet companies have done a good job, I think, of improving the quality of head protection, with the design of helmets. Helmets have gotten larger. People always used to say when I wore a helmet with an exterior pad, which is a resilient outer surface as opposed to a polycarbonate surface, which most helmets are. People say, well, it looked like, it was a big, huge helmet. And it was bigger because I'm a smaller guy. A couple other NFL guys, linemen, wore it with a lot of success as well. Steve Wallace and Randy Dixon. And you really couldn't tell on them because they're bigger guys. But helmet technology has improved, so the current helmets today are probably the same size as the helmet I wore with the additional pad. And part of the reason for that is when the exterior of the helmet is further from your head, it creates a better protective situation. So they've come to know that. Helmet companies continue to put pads on the inside of the helmet and try to mitigate the forces in that regard. And I chose to put it on the outside of the helmet on the advice of some industrial design engineers and Dr. David Nelson at the Penn State's Biomechanical Lab, which indicated that helped to reduce the force better than the standard helmet with the hard exterior shell and the interior. So then the Guardian Cap was the genesis of the Hansen Group in Atlanta, and they have taken that technology, the same technology that I wore. I never wore the Guardian. I wore exterior energy management technology, which is, again, the same material that the Guardian cap is produced from. And its intention is to put the padding on the outside of the helmet to mitigate those forces which have the potential to cause concussion. Mm-hmm. So it matters how you arrange the padding. You could have the exact same helmet, and if you put all the padding on the inside and have a hard outside shell, you get one result. If you have padding on the outside and then a hard shell and then padding on the inside, you get a different result. If you took all the padding on the outside and had no padding on the inside, you get a completely different result. So in our mind, the best protective situation is created when there is some energy management material on the exterior of the helmet.
How are you coming with the kind of cooperation? I mentioned South Carolina. How are you coming with getting word out from both the colleges as well as pro football? Mark, how are things coming from that standpoint?
Well, yeah, I'd be lying probably to say if there weren't some obstacles, but it's the head is it's a tenuous situation. You don't want to protect the head better and expose the neck or other parts of your body. And that was the contention for years. Even when I played, they said, don't wear the product that Mark's wearing because it could cause neck injury. And that was completely debunked in the lab. I mean, I'm not the most intelligent guy in the world, but I'm not going to put something on my head that protected my head and had the potential to cause a neck injury. So that was all. I mean, I felt comfortable with all the scientific testing and data that was collected at the Penn State's biomechanical lab. And I mean, we were in Waterloo. We were all over at independent labs, Wayne State University, Temple University. So there's all kinds of labs that confirm the glanceability is what the term that they use for helmets so that they don't stick, so there's not that situation occurring. And I was afforded much better protection for a lot of years because of that situation, and feel healthy today. I think in large part because I had the opportunity to wear that product and be the beneficiary of the foresight of some people and technology, which I think is going to change the helmet business here in the very near future.
Listen, there's a little bit of a stigma attached to any conversation about this because people always think, well, it's not going to be able to prevent concussions. Well, that's not what you're talking about. What you're talking about is making those hits that are absorbed less severe. And if that's what you're doing, then I don't see any reason why everyone wouldn't adopt it. I really don't.
Right, and that's the truth. I mean, anybody who tells you they have a concussion-proof helmet or this reduces concussion, you cannot use that terminology. All you can do is try to mitigate the forces that have the potential to cause concussion. Mm-hmm. You and I, Tim, might sustain the exact same hit on a football field, and one of us might get a concussion, and one of us may not get a concussion because people's brains react differently. But the fact of the matter is we have to find a way to slow down the forces. And our contention has always been, and the Guardian contention is, I mean, in NASCAR, cars have a crush zone now because it helps to mitigate the force. It actually increases the time of the collision, but in so doing, slows down the force. I mean, I taught fifth grade, so I know as much physics as a fifth grader. And, force equals mass times acceleration. Players are getting bigger, so they're going to be faster. So you have to find a way to slow down the impact because if you reduce the acceleration, you reduce the force, and that's by putting a pad on the outside. It's a resilient outer surface, still has glanceability, so it doesn't have a sticking property, but has a way to help reduce those forces that have been known in laboratory results and field testing to cause concussive episodes.
Remember the two words, Guardian Cap, and find out as much. Mark, we've only got 30 seconds. Where can folks find out more about it?
Well, at GuardianCap.com, you can go on there, and I mean, there's a lot of information about it right there. And I don't have I think that's what the website is. So,
sure, GuardianCap.com. That's all we need to do.
I mean, there's great graphics on there. I mean, these are people. The Guardian Cap people are material science people, so they're dealing with material science and making sure scientifically.
Well, we'll address that and make sure people go there. Thank you, Mark.